We really need to stop taking suggestions from the experts. Really, we do. They have been on a track for forever, taking all the countries in, some worse than others, like South Africa, Philippines, taking those countries because of the World Economic Forum, the UN, all these supposed experts, taking their countries into total poverty. And then that serves, when it comes to healthcare anyway, that serves the International Nurse Council, because then they can do nurse migration. But I'll get to that in a minute. This is really what they're all about. The circular bioeconomy, theories and tools for economists and sustainability scientists. Yes, the biggest crazy people on the planet, the sustainability people, which is the World Economic Forum, the UN, all the climate crazies, okay? Using a bunch of lies to say that this is why we need to do this is why we need to do migration, this is why we need to have open borders. And what I'm really tired of is the very people that always seem to get it wrong and make things worse. Why are we still listening to these people? So this is the bio-circular economy. Let me show you a different picture that really lays it out much better. It's a draining of everything, draining of resources. Yeah, they've been doing a good job of that, aren't they? Most especially here in America with open borders. And who supported open borders besides the medical, nursing, healthcare professions, all the associations at the top anyway? Oh, they all did. They supported open borders, yeah. Even though they told everybody to lock down, of course, in 2020 and stay in your homes, and they wanted to keep nurses in masks forever, the fact of the matter remains that it made no sense. They're total hypocrites. I've said this before. Because you wanted to say that people should stay at home and let's destroy the economy, but then you supported open borders. So it makes no sense, because you make no sense, and that's why I do not know why we continue to listen to any of these regulatory agencies that all tie back to really the UN. So that's what this is all about, is draining everything. Because when you decimate it all, then you're going to have some people come in, some billionaires that come in and say, it's okay, we're going to put it all back together for you. Those are the people you want to tell to this. You don't want any of their help, because they did this on purpose. So that people understand, socialism is about the state. Yeah, the state controlling everything. That's what socialism is all about. Communism is about the collective. Yeah, interesting how many labor unions love to talk about we're a collective, huh? Yeah, well, Karl Marx loved labor unions. Socialism is about the present problems, and communism is just about eliminating all the problems, which is why Karl Marx himself said that communism is about the elimination of private property. So when you've heard, or maybe some people have heard, with the whole Agenda 2030 and you will own nothing and be happy, well, they're all Marxist, and they all sit at the World Economic Forum and are tied to the UN. So those aren't people you want to listen to, because they have nothing that's of good intention. They don't understand our founding. So socialists like to come in and, like what our healthcare system is doing right now, and saying it's got to be about equity and equality, that everybody has the same outcome. Well, who are you? Who made you people, God? Who made the nursing profession, the associations, God? Because you people don't even know how to do the right thing. But they look at our Declaration of Independence, and then, these people that are just not right in the head and say, well, it's not equal. It's not, because look at this person has a harder time than this person. Right. And then what does that mean for that person then that has a harder time but achieves their goals? It means all the much more, doesn't it? So this is the reason America wasn't about either of these parties, because they're basically dead parties. They take you into destruction. And then, as you can see, socialism is, this one's wrong. If they're referring to government, they're not about limited government. They're about the state controlling every aspect of your life. That's what we're living in America. That's what we've been living under, is socialism, which is why you have OSHA. You have 25 different regulatory boards all over the place for every different little thing, and they're so unnecessary. But socialism, that's what they bring. No, we want the state to control every little thing. We want them to hold our hand. But communism wants to abolish all that, because when communism can abolish all that after it's been a total mess that socialism has made, then you get the billionaires who really will get the redistribution of wealth. Yeah, socialism is not about, here's the best way I had a guy tell me this. He told his son this, who was a college student, I believe, or was getting ready to go into college, to explain socialism. He said, let's say you graduated college, you earned all of your credits, you worked really hard, you struggled, you had such a hard time in some of those classes, then you finally graduate and you earned those college, they're yours. But somebody comes along, socialism comes along, communism comes along and says, you know what, we're going to need to take some of those credits you earned because you're a white kid, and because, you know, we believe that you've had more opportunities than these other people, so we're going to need to take those credits, redistribution. And the kid said, well, I don't want anybody taking my credits. And he said, well, then that's why you should never support socialism. Because that's what it is. And that's what their DEI is about. That's what DEI is about. That's what affirmative action is all about. It's saying, no, you weren't afforded the right you weren't afforded all the opportunities. If you want to stay on that boat, then be a victim. But America wasn't about victims. Socialism is, however. So is communism. Loves to create victims. Which brings me to this. Yes, the nurse migration. What are the experts of nursing in America up to? What are they doing? I mean, I really think what they've been up to for, well, I know they have, not think. I know they have because I've looked into it. They really have been more interested in helping the millionaires of the hospitals, the CEOs, the administrators get cheap labor. They always have. That's the reason why they've never really supported nurses in this country. The American Nurses Association, the unions, doesn't matter. They're all the same, because each and every single one of them ties back to the International Nurse Council at the UN, an organization that should be totally dismantled, or at least not even listened to, because they have caused all these problems in the Philippines and South Africa, because it's all about this nurse migration, healthcare worker migration. I think that most nurses would like to stay in their own countries. I know a lot of Filipino nurses that would much rather work in their countries because their families are there. But globalists have decimated their countries. They've decimated South Africa. So then nurses have to come to Britain or here or Canada to work. And then who does that serve? That serves the nursing associations, who have been in bed with the hospital CEOs, because it helps them get cheap labor. That's the reason they all supported open borders. Yeah, this is the impact. Ghana reported 10,000 nurses taking care of population of 19 million. Yet this is all because we should stop listening up to the people at the associations, at the World Economic Forum, at the UN. They don't know how to fix everything. They make everything worse time and time again. So it's stupid to continue to listen to these people. What should be done? All countries around the world should increase training of nurses. It doesn't matter if you increase training of nurses. In fact, one of the slides in here, I'm not showing all of them, said nurses in South Africa tell other women, don't get into nursing. I tell that to people too. The nursing profession would hate me for that. Really, because it's not, you're a slave to it. You're literally a slave. The amount of work they give you, it's not like it used to be before, where you were actually a valued person in the profession. You know, they think that by just, telling you we're grateful for you, that somehow that makes you think that you're valued. No, you know when you're valued by a company, because they won't try to treat you like a slave and put more work on you than should be given. All countries around the world should increase training of nurses. Developed countries should train own nurses and should be so dependent on migrant workers from developed, and not be so dependent on migrant workers. All countries should comply with ethical recruitment practices, suggesting that there hasn't been ethical recruitment practices. I bet there hasn't been. And look at all the nursing professions in this damn country that tie to all this. Disgrace. Each person has the fundamental right to migrate and work. I agree. I just think most would like to stay in their own countries. Whatever strategies are developed to address the worsening situation in the health sector as a result of health personnel migration. So here's the problem. Get rid of the associations, all of these regulatory agencies, and then we can put our country back together, and the world will be able to put their countries back together. Stop listening to the experts. They